Welcome back, you're watching Storyboard. We get to see a confluence of thoughts between technology and design these days. ALASTAIR LEITH Design Director May Thought and Jutta Birkenhauer, International Sales Manager G.F Smith, spoke to us at the recently held Curious Designyatra 2016 about the changing face of design, what are the challenges and why would a client choose a design agency over an advertising agency. While discussing technology and changing times, they also highlighted the importance of good old paper in design. Let's hear the full conversation.
So, 15 years ago, if you went to a tech fest, you had in a linear form 15 speakers, all of whom knew about tech. You went to a design fest, everybody spoke about design. You went to a advertising fest, and it was a lineup of the advertising stars. Today you go to a, whether it's a South by Southwest or a Designyatra or Melt or whatever, you're seeing this wonderful confluence of thoughts. Why do you think this is happening?
Because I think that there is a hybrid mixture of communication going on at the moment. As you know, I come from the paper world, so I'm old school, but I see now that in paper, for example, you can insert RFID technology, you mix digital film with paper, you get animations made out of paper, and I love that. I love the fact that the young designers really incorporate all the means of communication that is available to them.
Right, absolutely. And so why does a young designer like you want to work with an old hag like her? I wanted that provocation. I like that.
I think, I studied as a graphic designer. That was the name of the course that I did. But I think it's an outdated term already, even in the short time since I left. There's no really any such thing. You can't make a living out of graphic design because all the different channels are connected. So if you design an identity, you design a logo, you design this, but to bring it to life, you need to know how to make films.
I'm going to ask you what you're learning from her, and then I'm going to ask you what you learned from him, because that is the wonderful part of what's happening to this business.
Well, I still love the history of graphic design, and I still love the things that graphic designers always have. I love nice papers. I like making things. I like crafting objects and making beautiful things, and that will never change. I hope anyway. That's G.F Smith papers. That's what they are. They are beautiful objects, and they allow us to make beautiful things. Right. I don't think that will ever change. There would be a place for that. Right. But I think what has changed is now simply that is not enough. There needs to be,
But you see, if we weren't to embrace as paper people, the modern technologies, we simply wouldn't be there any longer. Right. Nobody writes letters. Right. Yeah, but somebody makes an art installation or a film out of paper, and that's what we've got to do. So we've got to change, and it's embracing. I love it. Yeah,
but the challenge then is while the creative person always changes, whether it is you or whether it's Picasso, they keep changing. The client side finds it more difficult to change. Earlier they were working with an ad agency which gave them a predictable delivery. And then you went to an electrician who gave you a predictability. And now you're finding people like you go up and you're giving your clients solutions. How difficult is it to convince him that they need you and not an ad agency?
Yeah, I think it's all horses for courses. Right. Sometimes I think I always try to sort of put it in words like, if you still use paper, and you've got to use the word still because it's not used that much any longer. If you still use paper, you do it basically to convey an emotion or an image. Right. And if you're wanting to pass on information, then you're going very digital. Right. Yeah, so a website is basically information. It's not so much about what you feel. So it really depends on what the client wants, and I think the mixture of everything is probably the ideal world at the moment. Right. Because can you see ourselves sitting in front of each other and passing on a digital business card?
Absolutely not.
Yeah, exactly. Me neither. And I don't think the young people do either. Right. So this tactility, I think, is important.
Right. So where do you think this business is going? Because it is getting turned on its head. It is getting turned on its head. Is it advertising? Is it design? Is it tech? What is it that you're in? That's a question. In everything.
We're in everything. We're in art, we are in installation, we are in fashion. Right. We're in everything.
No, but the client is used to putting suppliers and vendors into boxes. More so procurement, for example. How do they deal with you? Because they knew how to deal with an ad agency, they knew how to deal with a media agency because there was history. Now you're coming with no history, you're coming almost with future.
Yes.
So what is the struggle? I wanted to understand from the two of you the process of selling, process of doing business.
Yeah, I think for us it's more storytelling,
Right.
rather than selling.
Right.
I actually haven't used sell or buy in the last 3 years.
Right.
Yeah, so you tell a story, you evoke an emotion, you try and convince the customer that, you know, whatever he would like to achieve, he can be achieved by that means. That's kind of how we would do it. I don't know how you would do it.
You have to build a story. It's not, you know, that's part of the challenge of designing anything is, I wouldn't say selling it, but you know, but bringing the client along on the journey with you, because it doesn't matter how good your idea is, if you can't communicate it to them in a way that they can understand and get excited by, then it'll never see the light of day. So we spend almost as much time on that part of the process, you know, on how we communicate our ideas, and you know, it's about, that's why relationships are so important with your client. You know, it's not, you don't just send through you know, a piece of work via email. You know, you sit around and you talk about it and you go on a journey together, and that's, you know, that sort of relationship is how you come to this.
So what are the challenges for you to arrest the attention of the consumer? Because it's clear that the consumer does not want to view ads. They does not want to be sold to.
No, so I think, you know, there's definitely a shift. I think consumers are more savvy to traditional methods of selling. You know, we're always really conscious of never appearing to sell.
Right.
We kind of, coming back to what you said earlier, I think, you know, it's about, we feel if we can tell an interesting enough story, then people will be interested, and then people will want to find out more, and they will feel like they have discovered it for themselves, as opposed to being told it's something that they want. So I think we always try and weave as much storytelling into what we do. You know, or we create something that, you know, is beautiful, or something that somebody will enjoy, but we never tell them that this is something that they need. You know, I think that's the difference.
So tell me, so first you and then you, 3 or 4 pieces of work you're very proud of, where you've sold without appearing to sell.
Well, I mean, for example, if you go to the space over there and you stand next to the paper installation, which we call,
which I saw lots of people taking photographs of from the first floor.
That's right. So that is their first touch point with paper. A lot of these young designers, they don't deal with paper, and then they see this beautiful work of art, and they start taking photos of it. They start touching it. They want to know how it's built. So we tell them the story of how, in this case, Al came about creating it, and it's a wonderful story, and they listen and they get interested in the medium, and they start thinking about paper in a different way. That's why we do these art installations.
Now, finally, I'm going to ask you, you know, advertising is sold itself cheap. You know, every day it seems to get cheaper than it was the previous month. While in your case, it's a high-cost business, in the sense your talent costs a lot more money than advertising talent costs, because it's so cross-functional. You get more graduates, you get more postgraduates, you get doctorates in your business. So how do you get to negotiating a price that you deserve to get?
Well, I think because you can't really put a price to neither emotion nor image.
Right.
Whereas you can to information.
Right.
I think really that's what it boils to. I think everything that touches the heart, people don't question price so much. And certainly if you use a luxury paper to portray who you are on a business card, you're not gonna ask what the price is. You want to portray yourself in the best possible light you can.
How would you answer the same question?
I think usually because the value they get is quite.
No, that's something you're saying. That's something advertising also says.
Well, you know, we do. Yeah, I mean, there's a certain amount. I mean, we have case studies and examples where, but you only have to show a portfolio of brands that you've taken, and you know, they've gone from, you know, struggling small businesses to you know, to tripling in their turnover, and you know, you only need a few of those examples, and you have that trust. You know, I mean, the reality is, if you go to the best people, it is value for money, because it will, you know, it is worth spending that money, because it will increase your value. So, you know, but yeah, I imagine if you're starting out afresh and you haven't got that history of projects, then I imagine it is tough. And I think, you know, at that other end of the market, the smaller studios starting out, students, it is actually very hard. The pay isn't good, and it is very hard to get, you know, to get a fair price.
Right. Fantastic, and I hope You play your role in helping those small studios
Absolutely.
do better, and your role in keeping paper alive. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
With that, it's a wrap on Storyboard this week. You can catch all our content on Facebook, Twitter and YouTube. Thanks for watching, and we'll be back same time next week. See you soon.